I am back, and today I actually wanted to just go over some of the guitars that that I have. I only have 22 here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. I have 22 of my guitars here. I have 32, and believe it or not, I actually tried looking for the other ones, but it's case on top of case. You know, I have one area that's 9 cases, and I took about 3 or 4 out just to get to the bottom, and I realized I had another Ibanez there. I realized in another one I had another Jackson, and I'm like, you know what, dude, I'm just gonna leave those there. So let me show you. This is my my ESP collection here. So I have ESPs. Growing up, if you YouTube them, I mean, they're not popular anymore. They are, but not as big as they were in the early 90s. But my guitar teacher growing up as a kid was Javier Carpio from a band called Marauder, and also known as Saab. So Javier, his family were kind of, I mean, listen, I was a poor kid from Brooklyn, right? And then here's Javier, whose parents and family owned lots of different properties all over Brooklyn. So he was like the rich kid amongst us, you know, if you will, where, you know, I remember going to his dad's office, and he's like, "Dad, I need to buy a full stack," and his dad gave him like 1,500 cash, and we all went and he picked up his full stack. So it was like that, you know. So if you look at the Marauder video for what song? What the heck song is it? What song is it? Master Killer. So if you watch that video, he actually has an ESP M1, and I think he paid like $2,000 for it back then, in like 80, 87. It was a neck through body, reverse headstock, M1 with one pickup, one knob, and so back then, believe it or not, I actually, at one point, he, and rest his soul, he passed away, but he contacted me one day. He's like, "Dude," 'cause he was a huge horror aficionado. He's like, "I need money so I can go and, so I can go buy things at this horror convention in the city." So I'm like, "All right, dude, I'll lend you money, and just give me something to hold on to as collateral." And as funny as I remember it, he's like, "All right, I'm gonna give you as collateral my TC Electronic booster line driver distortion pedal. These are like 400 now if you can find them. Sometimes you can find them less, for less. But I own one because of him also. And I'm like, "No way, dude! Are you kidding me?" I'm just like, "I want your ESP." So I actually had his ESP for about a year until he gave me the money back. So believe it or not, so here's one of my ESP M2 customs. This is a New York City 48th Street custom model, neck through body. It's a 1991 model. It's an ESP M2 custom. So this guitar is as close as I've gotten to having the M1 that he had. It literally, the only difference is he had the older Jackson style headstock as a reverse, which was even rarer than just a regular Jackson style headstock. And as funny as it is, so I fell in love with that guitar so much that I couldn't wait until I found another one. So here's my other ESP M2 custom, 1991 New York City model, neck through body, 24 frets, ESP custom. This one was actually owned by, if you've ever heard of a band called Andrew WK, so one of the guitarists, I actually know his brother, and he's actually an ESP endorsed guitarist who's given his brother, who's also a guitarist, all of these ESPs throughout the years. And this one is actually brand spanking new out of the box. I have the original ESP case for that also. But I got that from the guitarist of that band. Not that you would know this, but Back in the early 80s, there was a band called Raven. They were part of the British invasion. This is my 1987 ESP Mirage custom snakeskin bolt-on with the original, with the old Jackson-style headstock before the potential lawsuit they were going to have. So this guitar showed up as a piece of garbage. You can even see the tip. Can you see it? Can't really see the crack on there anymore. Let's see. Yeah, kind of. All right, you can see it right there, right there. So the tip was completely broken off. But I actually bought this guitar from Mark Gallagher, who is the guitarist and is the guitarist of Raven. So this is a guitar that he had and used in 8 of their albums. He was just looking to unload it, and I happened to buy it. And didn't even know who, it's not like he advertised who he was, but one thing that I caught was that he had broken the tip while touring in Japan. And I'm like, this guy toured in Japan. I'm like, every band that I know that's ever toured in Japan turned out to be like a relatively big band. So as it turned out, it ended up being Mark, and he was just keeping it on the deal. I'm like, are you Mark Gallagher? He's like, yes. I was like, shut up, dude. That's awesome. So I have that. Here is an ESP M2 Deluxe, and with Seymour Duncan's with the original ESP. So yeah, dude. So I clearly love my ESPs since I have an entire rack full of them. This is actually the first ESP that I ever had, which is an M2 maple neck. Then here's this. This is my ESP Maverick Custom. So this guitar was garbage. Oh my god. I paid $350 for it. And the way, the guy was selling it for way too much, and it was just a disaster. And it just needed so much work. And I just told the guy, I'm like, listen, sell it to me for $350. I think it may have been $350 or $325. And I was like, but I guarantee, dude, I'm going to put so much money into that thing. I'm going to make it look absolutely amazing. It's going to be playable. It'll be, it's a 30-year-old guitar that will have this new breath of life. And I probably spent $700 on pickups, paint job, all new wiring. I went completely nuts on that one. And she sounds absolutely perfect. These are some of my newer. All right, so I got this Kiesel. I paid $12.50 for this one. This guy, apparently his wife had some car issue, and he had a bunch of Kiesels. He had four of them, and he was selling this one for $13, and I was like, let's do $12.50. So $12.50, not even joking, came in brand spanking new, out of the box, not a single scratch. The guy said he barely played it. He loved it, but it's one guitar that he used the least, along with another Kiesel that he sold. Here are my ESP Horizons, and this is my my Hunter Green ESP Horizon custom. This one I actually got, believe it or not, because when I was younger, I used to love the band Helmet. And I remember Page Hamilton having an ESP Horizon, but he had one of the original ones where it actually even extended as far as the cutout goes, farther down there. And it was a different headstock. This one's called the Teardrop. So I ended up getting this one, and after getting this ESP Horizon custom also, this guy didn't actually want to sell this one, but he had some financial issues, and I was just like, dude. I'm like, I totally get it. I've been there before in my life, and he's like, please, if you get it, just make sure you never get rid of it, and I never will, because this guitar was actually his absolute favorite guitar he's ever had, and it was instantly one of my absolute favorites. So I got that Sunburst first, which I think is called Vintage Sunburst, and then I got the Hunter Green. It's okay. So then as a kid, you know, you're a poor kid from Brooklyn, but you have some friends whose families have money. So here's this chap named Colin, and his parents bought him a $1,600 Jackson Soloist US model. And I was like, damn, dude. Back then I had a Kramer Pacer that I bought used, which I wish I'd never had gotten rid of because they're like $1,000 now. But I paid $140 for it back then for my Kramer. And so I ended up getting this Jackson, which, believe it or not, is my first Jackson. So this is neck through body, so it's a Soloist. Loved it, but guess what? Goddamn thing was made in India. And I was just like, okay, I need to buy different Jacksons. So then I bought this one. So then I realized, like, okay, you can either buy US-made Jacksons and spend a lot more, or get the next best thing, which are the Japanese models. So I ended up getting this purple ESP Jackson with Seymour Duncan. The bridge is a dime bag, and the neck, I don't even know what the heck the neck pickup is, but that thing sounds absolutely incredible. Let me go back here. Let's put that one there. Make sure that's not going to slide. But this is actually one of my favorites, which is my graphite ESP. I got this one, I don't know, maybe like a month and a half ago or so. That one is absolutely incredible. Two of my favorites is actually my two Paul Reed Smith. This is my 24 custom. This is a 10 top. You know it's a 10 top because it has the number 10. Can you see it? Let's see. Oh no, you can't see it from there. All right, well, it says 10 on it. I only have two Paul Reed Smiths, but I will only get U.S. models. Look at the flame on that. I would only get U.S. models with the birds on the as inlays. So I have that one, and then I have this Paul Reed Smith Custom 22. So it's 22 frets, but this is actually a 10 top called a Leprechaun Tooth. So this is my most expensive guitar that I own. But that's actually, the Leprechaun Tooth is by far my favorite of the two ESPs that I have. The other day I posted a video where I said that I got another Jackson. This is actually the Jackson DX10. So this is the one that I bought for $75. $75. It's a Japanese model. I ripped out the pickups already. Oiled the heck out of the frets. It looked terrible. It actually has a flame finish. You can see that. Can you? Let's see. And this one's actually really pretty. I like the color. Don't know what it sounds like yet because I haven't turned it on. This one is I love this guitar. This is my Carvin ST300 with, what kind of pickups does it have? Bare knuckle, War Pigs, with a maple fretboard, flamed fretboard. And that's what I liked about it. What I don't like about it is that it doesn't have a reverse headstock like my other Carvin. This is a DC-127 with their old pickups, reverse headstock, but no locking nut there. So where's that one does. So I have that one, and I can't believe I'm going through all these guitars. This is one of my favorite guitars. This is my Ibanez S770 PB, which is a poplar burl top. with a maple neck and a rosewood fretboard. And this thing weighs like, at least it feels like it weighs like 3 ounces. It's so light and plays incredibly. This one, I'm almost sad that I did this. So this is my Ibanez 7421. So this one's my only 7-string that I have. I like it, but I don't like it because it's 7 strings. So this one was actually the original magenta. I don't know if you can see. You can kind of see the pinkish magenta in there next to the bridge bolt there. So this one is an earlier model because it actually doesn't have that vertical line, which the cheaper ones have once they moved it from Japan. It actually says made in Japan right there. Right. It also has the F99. So this one actually has the a maple flame neck. You can see it from there. You can see all the striations there. So what I did with this guitar, because I clearly didn't like it in magenta because it basically looked pink. It looked like a pink guitar. I was in Brooklyn in Bay Ridge and walked into a pawn shop, believe it or not, of all places. And the guy wanted like $250 for it. It must have been 2000. 2000? It was either 2000 or 2001. And I was like, all right, I'll give you $200 for it. So he sold it to me for $200, and I spray painted it matte black. So, you know, I just didn't really care much for the color, and those are DiMarzios. But maybe I'll actually play that one. I haven't played that one in a while. Which Jackson is this? This is my Jackson DXMG, I think, with reverse headstock. All of my Jacksons are reverse headstock. Actually, no. One of them is not, which is one that's in a case. This is the Ibanez that I bought just a few weeks ago. This is the RGR 320 SP. I got this one just because I like the RG. You know, I've always had RGs. Did I not? How many? I have that one Ibanez there, the 7421. I have a bunch of Ibanezes. I probably have like 7 or 8 of them. I think I only have 3 here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I only have 3 here. So this one actually, I love the fact that it's a reverse headstock. It's the only Ibanez I have with a reverse. It comes with the V7 on the bridge, which, whatever. But it actually came with the Black Winter on the bridge. And I actually had the guitarist of the Viking who works at the local guitar shop. I'm like, plug me into something. So he plugged me into a version 3 5150. And absolutely instantly fell in love with it, which is this one here. Oh, okay, so this is my other... So I showed you my purple Jackson, and I love that one so much that I wanted it in black, so I got it in black. It's literally, with the exception of the pickups, it's exactly the same thing along with the frets. So it's these two here, this one, and this one has the shark tooth inlays. This one has the dot inlays because it's 2 years older, but they're both professionals. Is that it? The white one, that one, my 7420, my ST300, my other ESP, my Kiesel, my 2 Horizons. Okay, well that's what 22 guitars looks like, stacked up on a single couch. Is that along with my 2 Horizons there, my ESP M2 Custom, a bunch of other guitars. I actually took off the bottom cabinet to my Mesa Boogie, but I have that Mesa Boogie half stack, but I have the bottom cabinet downstairs in the basement. But that's the full stack, and then I have a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier half stack downstairs also, and then I have a bunch of I have a Marshall JCM 2000 full stack. I have another Marshall 1968 top cabinet. That's what I usually have that with. And then I have a Marshall 1936 2x12 cabinet also. So I have a lot of gear, and I have a lot of gear just because. Why not? Sometimes I sit back and I'm like, I can either buy a few shares of Apple or buy a Kiesel guitar. So I buy a Kiesel. But yeah, man, I have all these guitars just because they're fun. You got to be able to enjoy life, and that's how I do it. Surrounded by a bunch of guitars. The problem that I have is usually which one to play. But they're fun, and aside from that, I'll buy a bunch of different pedals. I'm waiting for my Fort and Zool to come in. That should be fun, which is their... and I'm into watches too. Like really big into watches. As crazy as I am with guitars, I'm just as crazy about watches. But I definitely spend more on guitars now than I did on watches, which was ridiculous at one point. But yeah, man, that's... I have a pretty decent, successful business I've been building for years, and thank God it's doing well, and I can now, get things like this, and it's just hard work and completely killing myself, and getting my business to where I wanted it to be, and now I can take time to play guitar. I literally played from 1987 until 93, 94, and then took basically like a 13-year hiatus, probably like 12 years. So in having my business and building it throughout all the years, all of a sudden, I found myself not really needing to build my business as hard as I had for so many years. And I'm like, what do I want to do now? You know what? I'm going to start playing guitar again. And it was interesting having to, here I am listening to this, right? And all of a sudden I'm like, who's this band Meshuggah? Like legit, like I've never heard of Meshuggah until a year ago. But even listening to old things that I listened to, Pantera, anything heavy, sick of it all. Anything old school, every once in a while I'd listen to like the Cro-Mags or Gorilla Biscuits, and getting back into it and getting my ear back into music, and then pulling out one of my guitars and trying to play. My timing was awful. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. Picking was terrible. My leads were non-existent because I never considered myself a lead guitarist. I never bothered as a kid. But I decided I'm going to start playing guitar again, but I'm going to learn a lot more than I ever had before. So whenever you watch any of my videos and I'm just dabbling, doodling, not even joking, 2 years ago I couldn't do anything like that. Like zero, nothing, not even close. So that's, that's my little history there. Because some of you guys have been, some have asked like, hey, how do I have all these guitars? Why do I have all these guitars? Why do I have all these Jacksons? It's because goddamn Colin's parents bought him an expensive guitar when I couldn't as a kid. So now I own probably a lot more than Colin does. And ESPs just because I've always liked them since I was younger. So I did that. And then once I started playing again, that's when I realized that absolutely no one liked the Boss Metal Zone. So, that being said, I went ahead and tried to figure out, well, what can you do to a Metal Zone? And I bought a Metal Zone. These two knobs switch it from a Bogner sound over to a what? Bogner Mesa. So it's a rectifier. So one dials in more of a rectifier sound, and the other one dials in more of an Uberschall sound. And I bought this thing, dude. The guy had no idea what the heck this was. I did some research on it and found the guy that actually made these pedals and made these mods. And I mean, typically they sell for 200, 225. I think I paid 60 for it, maybe 50, maybe it was 60 with shipping. So that's my little history there. So I'm 44, never stop playing, always have fun, do whatever you can to live a better life, anything that makes you happy. I'm a terrible guitarist, but I try like everyone else. You know, I think I have enough gear that it'll help me. I have some gear that I simply have just because I like them, like my Ibanez S770. I just think it's a pretty guitar. And along with my Paul Reed Smiths, I just think they're just pretty. And believe it or not, with their stock pickups, they actually sound ridiculous when you're playing heavy music. So, all right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. That's my little history. Before I became a wedding photographer, I worked on Wall Street in finance for about a dozen years. So that helped me finance my my dream, which is to be a photographer. And in working hard and building that business, I found a guy, and now I'm back to writing music, because that's another dream that I've always had, was just to record something. I have demos but you know, who the heck even considers demos when they were 15? And now at 44, time to write some new stuff. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, I will talk to you guys soon.